Hi, welcome to Demo Garage. I'm Steven, and in today's episode, I'll be installing this rear glass. It's been a long time coming, and I'm getting very excited about getting this car back on the road. So come with me and I'll show you how I put this glass back in. Okay, so the first step of putting this rear glass back in is going to be to pull all these little clips off. That'll look nice. And then I'm gonna kind of drape this in place. Andrew's instructions say to soak this in warm water to try and make it more pliable. But I'll probably end up doing that, but I kind of want to stick it in place and kind of figure out, you know, the playing field here. Figure out what I know and what I don't know. So, yep, I'll take those clips off, I'll drape it, and I'll bring you back. Okay, so I've decided to put the seam in the center here. From the factory, I can't remember where I found it before, but it was, I don't know, it was here or here. It was some weird location that I'm not planning on redoing. And I'm a little out of breath. This was actually quite a bit of work to get this on here. And I think my plan is to leave it on for a couple of days and let it try and find its happy place. It was quite a bit of work to put this thing on. Let me show you what the profile looks like. So here's the profile. Hopefully that's in focus. So we've got this opening here, which goes over the edge in the car. And then this opening here that the glass slips in. And then this interesting profile here, you ram the chrome strip in. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. Yep. So this will tighten everything up. And I think it'll make sense when the glass is in. And then of course you see this extra little flappy. That goes over. And while it doesn't look like it's touching here, I think all this gets rotated up when the glass is in. And then of course when that chrome strip gets jammed in there, it's probably super tight. So I didn't try heating this up because like I said, I think my technique is going to be let this stay on for a couple of days and maybe no progress and let it kind of shrink. And then I have to look up on Andrew's comments, but he had a suggestion of cutting. I mean, obviously you got to glue these two ends together somewhere. So his suggestion was to add, I want to say it was 3 inches, but I'll look it up. But I'm going to add like, I don't know, 1.5 inches on this one, 1.5 inches on this one, and then bring them together and then push them on, and then try and then push that extra material around, and that will get rid of all the stress stuff and get you to a point where in the future you don't have gap separation. So I'm going to do those 2 things. I'm going to leave this on here for a day or 2, cut it long, bring the 2 together. You can always cut it again. It's material safe if it's too long. And then kind of work my way around the perimeter. And yeah, so I'm going to go probably get to this stage on the front windshield, and I probably won't shoot another clip for a day or 2. I got some video editing to do. I just finished the headliner part 2 and the sunroof. I'll show you that real quick. I'm pretty proud of how this turned out, but maybe you've already watched those videos. But yeah, the headliner both in the car and on the sunroof is done now. But yeah, okay, so I'll get back to this project in a day or two, and I'll bring you back. Okay, one step closer. The TVR is off blocks. You can see in the background. It's like, I don't know, it seems 2 feet shorter, seems so much lower. It's probably only like a foot. I should have measured before, but wow, it's way down there. So I took it off blocks because I'm not getting in and out of it for the wiring and all the stuff that was going on. The last thing for me to do to get this thing drivable is to replace the window on the front and back. So I've got this new seal, and I reached out to the TVR group on Facebook, and I asked, I'll probably post a picture of this, but what should I do about any kind of a liquid seal? And I got a lot of great advice, and but I'm also saying that sometime in the near future, maybe a year away, I'm going to eventually paint this vehicle. So to glue this seal down now will ensure damage and difficulty in removal of the glass in a future date. Living in Southern California, and it is crazy windy right now. Got crazy weather. You can probably hear it in the background. But my intention is not to take this thing out in the rain, but as everyone knows, you get caught out in the rain every once in a while. So I think at this point, I'm going to take a few people's advice and not do any kind of a sealant. Andrew suggested Sikaflex. I am going to glue these two ends together, and I'm going to follow Andrew's written advice as much as possible. And so you saw in an earlier clip, I have pushed this seal on around the perimeter, and that was just to kind of let it find a happy place. But I'm not sure it's forced into this corner or that corner or that corner or this corner as much as possible. So I think the advice is the worst thing I can do is to just trim both of these edges flat and then glue them together, because at a later date when I put the window in, this gap is going to separate. So I'm going to rely on Andrew's experience, and he says cut these things 3 inches too much. So I'm going to go 1.5 inches on this guy, 1.5 inches on this guy from the center line, and then I'm going to work my way around and try and bring these two edges together. And I got nothing but time. So I might go half on this side, half on this side, and then the other half, and hopefully I can push those 3 inches in. What I really want is compression between these two edges when I glue it together. So actually just putting this guy on is quite a bit of work. I was breathing a little hard, strangely enough. And so that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna go ahead and do my best to cut a straight edge, 1.5 inches on this one, 1.5 inches on that one. And then I'm gonna start trying to work that material around. And I'm going to do that. I don't like these break-off blades at all, but I bought this one because of I can extend this blade way out, and it's going to be way better than, you know, just this short blade. I'll probably practice on an edge first, and the point is to try and make a straight, square, flat cut so that when I get it right, the two edges can be glued together strongly. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these two edges, and then I'll bring you back when I got something to show you. All right, thanks. Okay, so you can probably laugh at me now. and I'm probably thinking too much of this, but here's how I'm doing it. So I lined up I pounded one side in, and I pulled the other free, and then I put tape on this guy, and then I've marked a line, and I've got my little square taped down to this edge, and I've gotten a good start cutting this first one. And yeah, so make fun of me if you want, but this is how I'm doing it. And you can cut your trim as any way you want, but I'm doing my best to get a nice square cut. So this is what I'm doing. You do you. Okay, so I got one side cut, and obviously this side is still long, and it looks pretty square. I mean, so I think, God, that looks like so much. I think my plan is to, it seems like a lot to do on both sides. So I am going to not cut this side yet. And then, I don't know, can I put some sort of a clamp here to keep it from sliding, and work my way to the center and see what happens if I can get rid of this big bump. I mean, that's the plan. The plan is to get compression on both of these, and whether 3 inches is the right amount or enough, or maybe me putting this on early and letting it find its happy place was too much. This is the point of making this video, so you guys can decide on your own with a little more information. So, see that? So my plan is to put a little clamp on here somehow, and then work my way half up here, and if I have to, kind of work it back too. I'm not really sure, and then make a decision on cutting the other side. So I'll bring you back when I've got something else to show you. Okay, so here's where I am so far. Didn't make it too far, but I'm thinking to myself, if anyone's attempting this project, they want a lot of detail, so it's going to be a little bit longer than I like to post. But anyway, so I've got some shims here to try and protect the paint and the trim inside, and I've got it on this parting line, and here's the line I cut. And again, it was 1.5 inches of material in excess that I from this parting line that I cut off, and I'm working my way around this corner, and I'm really I'm a little out of breath. It's still a lot of work, so I'm using a dead blow, and I'm trying to rotate. So there's a big difference between this rotated down and rotated up. Obviously, it's got to be rotated so that this lip makes good contact with the paint. So I'm doing my best to try and keep it in this orientation. And then this compression, I think, is really helping in pushing material into the corners, because I think the corners are where I might be losing. If it were to suck back and give me a gap in, you know, there, that it might, a lot of material might be coming from here and here. So I think Andrew's really gotten into something here. And the idea of cutting it long and working your way around might be really beneficial. But I don't know about that 3 inches. That probably works for him. Probably works depending on your external temperatures. So shipping a new seal to me from England here in Southern California, I'm not looking forward to that. So I'm all about wasting my time and cutting 4 times, 3 times, measuring. So anyway, so I think I'm going to work my way around here and then make that decision. I've already said that, but there's definitely a benefit to this technique of trying to shove material into the corner so your gap doesn't open up. But I have a hard time believing 3 inches is going to work for me. It could work for you, could work in different climates, but I think my measurement's going to be something less than that. So I'm going to work my way around, and I thought I'd bring it back and show you what I'm dealing with. All right. Andrew, I apologize if I besmirched your name in my last clip. Look what just happened. I pulled that material this way. I pulled that material this way, and all of a sudden the loop is gone. So this thing obviously needed the 1.5 inches this way. So I'm going to stop questioning the write-up and the advice I got. Yeah, it's tight here, but I'm going to rely on the past experience of others. Thank you, Andrew. And I'm going to go ahead and cut the additional 1.5 inches on this guy, and maybe glue them together, making some progress today. So thank you, Andrew. Thank you, TVR Forum. And I've decided to go ahead and glue these together. Currently, without any Sikaflex or material. I had a lot of great comments on the TVR forum about what to use. And in the future, when I've got it painted and I reinstall this window for the last time, I will be employing some of those pieces of advice. And I will say that some of the pieces of advice is that, no sealant is needed, or don't use any sealant if you're planning to take this window out again. And so I'm going to lean that way because I am planning to pull this window out at a future date. Who knows when that'll be. But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and figure out how to trim this other side straight. And then I'll show you what sealant I plan to use to bring them together. But I can't believe that loop got sucked up in this short amount of distance. And yeah, so learn from my mistakes and just make your own decisions. Okay, so here's the next step. I pulled this side back and then repositioned the cutting angle, and I've trimmed this one as square and flat as possible. And this is the material that I've chosen to use to glue the two together. So I'm going to put a thin amount of this 3M black super weather adhesive strip, and I've used this in other places on the vehicle already. I like it. And so I'm going to wait for that to not be tacky, and then I'm going to shove them together on a center line. And yeah, and then I guess I'll be working the left side around because I haven't done that yet, but I'm confident now. So I'll bring you back. Okay, so I've got this all glued back together. Pretty close to the center line I was hoping for. I think this is going together pretty well. Now I've got the glass actually out here, and I spent some time cleaning up at least some portion of the outside and then all of the inside. And now I'm looking at spending some time cleaning up all of this before I try and stick it in a new seal. So I'm gonna work on that, get all the perimeter done, and try not to screw up. I have no idea if I have continuity here. Not really sure what's going on with the defrost. I'm assuming it's gonna work. I should probably check that, at least continuity. So I'm gonna work on cleaning up the outside, clean it up as much as possible. Then I've got some of those vacuum cup glass situations, and I'll bring you back when I'm getting ready to put this into the new seal. So we'll see how well that works. I'll bring you back. Okay, I'm out working on the TVR again. It's been a few days, and this seal looks like it's nicely cured and ready to go. So obviously this bottom section is where I chose to do the split and clean it up. And then with the locking strip, I'm going to choose the middle and the top, as suggested by people on the TVR Facebook forum. So this channel is for the locking strip, and this channel is for the glass. Speaking of the glass, I have it kind of ready to go. I'm going to attempt this by myself, and if it turns out to be sketchy whatsoever, I'll probably wait and get a friend to help. I almost made this mistake. I almost forgot to dig out the wiring for the defroster. So it's exposed on both sides now. And I have run a continuity test on both sides, and so I do get an electrical continuity there. So at least part of this is working. I don't know if it's broken anywhere, but so I guess it's time to talk about the seal. Actually, let me jump right back. So following Andrew's recommendation, I'm going to try and slide this glass in here, and then I got a specialized tool that I'm going to try and work the seal around. And so that's how I'm planning to put this in. I'll be taking plenty of videos, clips to show you where I'm at. Now, that being said, I want to, in my next clip, talk about sealant and why I've chosen at this time not to use sealant. And I posed this question to the Facebook TVR forum, and I got a bunch of answers. And so I'm going to throw some still photos in here so you can understand what I'm talking about. And I'll overdub it so I can give you my reasonings for why I've decided to do it this way. All right, I'll bring you back. Okay, so here's a quick profile photo that I posted on the TVR Facebook page asking for recommendations on sealant. And I think per the write-up from Andrew, he recommends Sikaflex in area number 3. And then area number 2, obviously no one said anything because that's where your locking strip goes, so no sealant there. I did have people say no sealant anywhere, and I had people say use something in 1 and or 4 or both. So yeah, I've already mentioned that I'm going to be removing this window to paint it in the future. So I've chosen to not put any sealant anywhere, but I think I'm going to reevaluate sealant in the future when I do it for a permanent state. And then this is the stuff that people are recommending I use. So you do your own research. Okay, can't lie that I'm a little nervous about this. I'm gonna grab my heavy piece of glass, and hopefully those suction cups stay attached, and hopefully I can get some good maneuverability. The plan is to try and slide it in this lower groove. I've thrown kind of some old sheet in here as a water barrier. I have I have used soapy water to spray down this channel. I'm intending to slide it in the bottom, and then the idea is to kind of work this edge over and get it in a groove all the way around. And I have a special tool for that. It was recommended to me and Andrew's write-up, so I purchased it. And then, of course, I'll bring you back. Well, wish me luck, because I hope I don't screw this up, but if I do, it's gonna be on video. So cross your fingers for me, let's see what happens. Ha! Yes, you just saw that. I got it turned upside down. So I'm gonna leave this. I'm gonna leave this in the video. Okay, so far it's not easy, but who thought it would be? So I'm just kind of working, trying to get it set in place, pushed down in the seal. Okay, that just came out again. Yeah, this is a lot of fun. Okay, I'm trying to pay attention to having it centered. Maybe I should have put a mark or something on the glass to show me where center was. Okay, I think I need to shoot a little more soapy water on there. I got a little cowboy on the soapy water thing, so don't make fun of me. Must work pretty good because I'm sliding my fingers through it pretty easily. All right. So I don't know if I'm getting this glass. Okay, I think it just slid in a little bit. Okay. Hoping that's a little more secure. And right now I'm just using my fingers to kind of pull up the rail. I'm going to stop right here and show you what I'm doing. So let me, I think it's safe enough for me to leave it right there. I'll bring it back in another clip. Okay, it's looking like I might need to shove that glass a little bit over in comparison here. But what I'm doing is I'm just kind of running my finger along this edge and I'm trying to get it seated down. And I'm going to shove the glass over, and then I'm going to start trying to work these corners over. And let me grab the tool I'm going to use to do that, and I'll bring it back. Okay, I was able to work my way around this edge, and the way I did that was using this tool. It's got a little ball on the end, And I kind of hook the edge, and you can pull it so you're not really touching the glass. It's probably a bad idea touching glass with something metal like that. So I was able to pull this corner over, and then it shoved this corner over. And so that's kind of in now. So my next step is going to be to try, so you can see, here's the transition where it's in and where it's not. So I'm going to need 2 hands for this for sure. But I'm going to get this tool in this. This is hard to do trying to keep the camera in, but you can see, oh, boom. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. So I'm going to take my sweet ass time and work my way up both sides, and then get this top section in the groove. And I'm hoping I don't screw something up here. And I'm hoping I'm gonna spray again with the soapy water, keep it nice and lubed up. So far so good, I haven't broken it. And so I'm just gonna work my way around. If I see something else I need to show you, I'll do that. I'll bring it right back. Okay, so I'm making progress, kind of working it around. It's just barely in right here. And I'm using that tool, and I'm grabbing and I'm pulling, and I'm sliding, keeping it lubricated. This is getting a little dirty, but yeah, this is working okay. I've just got a short section here, and I'm hoping once I get that in, it finds its happy place. It didn't help too much lifting, from the inside, but I'll keep going this way and see what happens. I'll bring you back. Okay, it took 2 or 3 tries to get this top section in. Pleased to say I have not yet broken this piece, and I've been gently but firmly but gently kind of pushing this down, and I'm thinking that at some point it'll find its happy place. Maybe I ought to try lifting up inside again. I've been trying to manipulate the glass so that I have, kind of a uniform gap here. This is obviously the gap that the locking strip goes in, and I don't think it's unexpected that it's super tight in the corners. It looks like maybe I ought to try and pull. Let's go look at the other side. It's a little wide here, tight in the corners. A little wide here, tight in the corners. Okay, maybe a little wide here. I don't know if I can grab this and try and shift it. What I'm thinking I had to do is, I had talked earlier about trying to do the locking strip. So maybe I start some distance over here and then planning on trimming, but I'm going to shoot a bunch of soapy water into this channel, and maybe I ought to start doing this. I think that's going to help shift the window down. But it is currently 100% in this channel. Oh, thank God I'm not trying to figure out the sealing situation. This was already really difficult without worrying about getting sealant everywhere. It's looking pretty cool having the window in. So let me prep the locking strip, get the tool out and put the correct head on the locking strip tool. I'll get it started. I'll shoot some soapy water in, and then I'll bring you back for a clip on how this locking tool works. I've only watched a video myself. This is doable one person, and I say that before being done because there's still a chance I could screw this up. But I gotta say, the rubber extrusion is high quality and it's nice and pliable. And obviously it's been a few days since I glued it together. So it's not warm like out of a hot bath like is suggested by Andrew. But I can, you know, I was using the tool, but I was also using my finger, rolling this around, trying to get it in the groove. So yeah, let me shoot some more soapy water on that and get prepped for the next clip. So I'll bring you back when I have something to show you. Okay, so here's the beginning of the locking strip, and as I mentioned, I started a little bit beyond my center line because I'm probably going to trim that. And here's this tool I was talking about. And what happens is you choose the end that fits your trim, and you dig this guy in, and at about this angle, so you're not like scratching the new trim, you just start plowing this thing through. And plowing is actually a great plowing is a great term for this because it is widening the groove. And so with one hand I'm plowing, and then with my left hand I'm kind of making sure that the trim is in the channel, and lots of lubricant again. I'm spraying this opening, this channel, and I'm going to work my way all the way around here. And I might even be like kind of forcing it in, and that way I don't want to have a lot of tension. I think it's going to be interesting when I get to the corners that are so tight, but I feel like pulling this channel, this locking strip in, is going to force the glass that direction. So I think having the center up here is a good idea. So obviously I've just begun this aspect of the window install. I'm going to go back, it's been a few minutes, so I'm going to lubricate the channel with the soapy water, and then I'm going to set the camera down so I have both hands, and I'm going to work my way over here. And when I get to the corner, I might bring you back, might not, depending on how it's doing. I'm going to stick the microphones back on the charger because they're pretty low on battery, but I'll bring you back on another clip when I have something to show you. All right, thanks. Okay, so I made it around the corner, and I gotta admit, every time I stop, the tool pops out, but I'm trying to get a good clip, show you what's going on. There's definitely a good and a bad angle to make advancement. I want to point out the difference between this corner that's lifted up off the body and it's tight here. That's how this corner used to be. And it wasn't crazy amount of work to drive this trim around the corner, but this has really taken much better shape. And I'm expecting this to continue going well, and then I think this is gonna pop up into place when I drive around this corner. So far so good. The trim looks really good, fits in there nice. This is gonna be a pain in the ass to get started again. What I'm doing is using a small little screwdriver. When I get in there, I'm gonna go an inch to get it started, and then I'm gonna use a screwdriver to kind of peel this edge back, and you can see what I'm talking about here. I'm gonna get it started, but there's gonna be a little bubble, and I don't want to go too far because I need to push this bubble back in. And yeah, I think Asako will be proud of me. I couldn't find my body tools. I've got some that are metal and I was looking for some plastic ones, but tell you the truth, I'm using disposable wood chopsticks a bit. So yeah, so let me keep going. Let me work my way around this corner. Lots of lubricant. You can see it's all over. It's gonna have to be cleaned up. So I'm gonna get around this corner, around this edge, and I'll probably bring you back at some point, maybe when I'm getting ready for that corner. So unless I have problems with this corner, that's probably where I'm gonna bring you back for the next clip. Okay, here's another rare action clip. I've made it around this corner and I like kind of what's going on. I have just lubed up the slot again, and I've kind of developed a technique here that I wanted to, it's very painful on the thumb, but I've got this tool in here spreading the opening, and I'm kind of prying against my thumb, and I'm lubed up. And so I'm kind of got the right corner, and I'm kind of driving around the corner here. And you can, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this well. I definitely will say that going around the last corners was a lot easier than this one. But let me play around with the angle, and then I'm spreading, and yes, it hurts my thumb quite a bit. And okay, fell out. Okay, but you can see that I was successful driving around this corner, and then I'm gonna go lick my wounds and maybe drink a little bit of a beer, and then I'll finish this up and I'll bring you back in another clip. Oh baby, the rear screen is in. The light's gonna really affect this clip. Just coming in at a bad angle, but I have the windshield in, the trim is in, and then you're gonna see my shadow or whatever. So I need to, it's been a day or so. Center line is about here or so. So I need to dig that out and then trim both ends so that get a nice tight fit. And I'm really pleased how this is looking. Okay, so it's finally time to perform the last task in installing this rear window. And that would be to cut the locking strip to length. You can see I've kind of figured out the center line, made a mark. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this one out of the trim a little bit. And let me show you how I'm planning on trimming those. I experimented with an extra long piece, and I think I found that not scissors, but using a long blade makes a pretty good straight cut without a lot of effort. I just use a backing strip. I do think it's pretty interesting. I don't know how well this is gonna work. The background maybe. This is an interesting piece. The chrome isn't, when you're looking at it, it looks like the chrome's on the surface, but it is actually kind of just a piece of thin foil, you know, I don't know, 80 thou, 90 thou down from the outside surface. So I should probably look into the internet on how to try and keep this looking good in UV and sun, you know, extended times, but there's probably some product you can put on it to help, and I'm sure it's designed to have maximum resistance to UV. But anyway, so that's how I'm planning on trimming it. I'm going to use this little block, and I'm going to trim one side, and then I'm going to trim the other side just a fraction longer and try and force them together in the same way that I did with the black seal. So I'll perform that task, and then I'll shove those together, and then I'll bring you back. Give me a sec. Okay, I think that's about as good a job as I think I could have done. I mean, you can see the smallest bit of indication there, but they are kind of pushed up against each other. I must have cut the second one 3 times or so, taking smaller slivers and slivers until I thought I could jam them together, and then use a screwdriver to kind of, I wasn't using the tool to install then, I was using a little screwdriver to pull the seal back around. And I think that looks really good. And with the completion of that locking strip clip, I'm calling this task done. It wasn't without its challenges. It was very difficult. But as I like to say, I hope you learned something, because I know I did. Next step is the front windshield, and that'll be the next video. I want to thank you for coming along and watching Demo Garage. Bye.